Welcome to the show, Styric McClure. You are an American bass guitarist, composer, and overall all-round lover of music. Born in New Haven, Connecticut, you began your affinity for music playing bass from the tender age of 13, influenced by groups such as Earth, Wind and Fire, the Crusaders, and Slave. You consider yourself as a weekend warrior, playing in church, private and public gigs, and a love the chance of joining an impromptu jamming session when you get the opportunity with other musicians. There's loads to talk about with you, Styric. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do tell us more.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to get, to be a part of your program and, and actually share a little bit about myself, I guess, as I've gone down this journey, I've had the really, really great opportunity to really hone my skills as a bassist and I guess a backstory. I've spent a lot of time in corporate America, so over the years, I've like you mentioned, I've been that guy that's kind of weekend warrior, kind of juggling family, corporate life, and music, and so I've done that for years. So fast forward to tapes, I finally, after all these years, took the opportunity to kind of just say, well, I got all this music and all this stuff in me. I need to get it out and share with a bigger audience. So I took the, unfortunate events of the COVID and took a step back and just laser beam focused on just music. So that gave me a really great opportunity. And, the hidden jewel in that there were a lot of other musicians available at the time to kind of say, hey, let's collaborate, let's do things, and help me on this journey,
Yeah.
There's so many great players out there as you kind of peel back the onion and you find that cats that have been, just like this, I was just telling you with John Giblins. I mean, I never really heard of him, but when you start peeling that back and all the players that he's been around with and,
right.
These guys, they're around and they're making a huge impact. And I'm, for me, I kind of like the new guy to the scene, right? and I'm just absorbing it all and enjoying the journey, and with I call it YouTube University. The benefit of that is that there's so many guys you can explore and dig into their talent and their craft and their contribution to the fabric of what we call this beautiful art form of music,
Yeah. What attracted you to Nashville?
Nashville, it was actually, my beautiful wife, which has been so supportive. I was living in Atlanta, kind of doing my thing there and kind of playing on weekends and doing, church gigs and stuff like that. And, I met this beautiful young lady that became my wife, and she had an opportunity to come to Nashville. And I said, well, I'm kind of liking really, really digging the vibe of what's going on in Atlanta. But, Nashville was another music hub. And I said, yeah, let's go. And then never left. It ended up being a good thing, for one, raising a family. And then you'll be surprised at how many folks are here that just, that just don't play country. They play jazz and they play all sorts of music, but they live here in Nashville. And you're like, really? Wow. So it's been a real cool thing from that perspective, Roger Ryan, I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a connection there because, he's got a great footprint in the gospel scene and the music industry as a whole. So yeah, he's a great friend of mine, and he's produced, a lot of the tracks, that I have on my debut EP Seasons, I met Kev Mo, and one of my real close friends, Quentin Ware, he played with Kev Mo and those guys. Great trumpet player, and he's on a couple of my tracks, my debut track Springtime, as well as my funk track that I dropped last year on Street Wave, which was the cover of the Brother Johnson tune, which was a lot of fun.
I ain't gonna be scared to ask you, but can you play a little bit of the upright?
Oh, the upright? Oh man. Yeah, I can always, you put me on the spot here, man.
Oh, we love it.
It's kind of interesting. I'll play a little bit of it. I got this one. I've been toying with some new strings. I've been getting with a guy, and I put some Ron Carter tape wounds on it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So So I had the Tomastics on it. But
Yeah.
And one tune, I don't know if you had opportunity. I dropped a song, acoustic song, back in February. It was not my upright acoustic, but my I guess small acoustic bass, and I wrote a song, acoustic song called For Elise. My daughter's name is Elise,
Oh,
and
okay.
and I and I actually I took I'm there again, I'm a lifelong learner. And I don't know if you know Andreas Rotmistrowski out of Argentina, an amazing, phenomenal bass player, man. He does, Berkeley grad and all this. But I
Yeah.
took a lesson from him, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and we befriended each other. So when I wrote this song, I said, man, it would be really cool if I can have you featured on the song, on the track. And
Yeah.
so he said yes. So I have he and Andreas and myself and a guitarist. It's all acoustic, and it's on my Vivo channel. So that would be something that would be great to share with your listening on.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll put a link in our description for that for guys. People can go out and check that out. It'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can send you some clips of with the upright, probably on the baby bass too. The baby bass.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Baby
Get it mocked up, and I'll send you some clips of that. It'd be fun.
Now, is there singing on your records?
None of all mine are what I call instrumental R&B.
Okay.
So this next project, the funk project that I alluded to, the first two songs that will be included, or probably the three. I dropped the Christmas song. I did, Roger and Hammerstein, My Favorite Things. I did a version of that I dropped right around Christmas, right after Thanksgiving, somewhere around that time. And had a lot of great players on that. Vance Taylor out of Atlanta, piano player, played with Earth, Wind and Fire, and a bunch of those guys. I was currently touring with Frankie Beverly and Mays, and then I had J. Rod Sullivan, which is a phenomenal drummer out of Atlanta as well. He tours currently with Jeffrey Osborne. He helped me on that track. And then, of course, it featured Rasan Barber played soprano on it. But yeah, if you get the opportunity, and you and your listeners, definitely check that out, because I did my thing on it. I like to take, when I do covers, I like to kind of take the I guess the essence of the song, and then just kind of do my thing with it. And so that's what I've done, and that was a lot of fun. I've done Palladium with Weather Report. I did that track, and did totally changed up the groove, because Jocko did his thing on that, right? So I had to change it up and do my thing. But the way cool thing about that is, good friend of mine, beautiful brother Chester Thompson, used to play with Phil Collins, and when he played with Report, he's actually on the. Yeah, he did the track, and the percussionist that was Weather Report, Jose Rossi, they're both on the track on my version. So, and then there's a music video as well that my sons. And I have twin boys that are in the video business out of LA, and my daughter, they put together, and they hired the amazing artist Kim. They hired his dancer to dance to the groove. So yeah, definitely have your viewers check that out. I'm pretty proud of that, because that was my very first video, and they did a phenomenal job. They do top notch work. But yeah, it's been a fun journey, and I'm enjoying. I love collaborating. I love collaborating.
Yes, that's where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And folks that bring, some really, really cool vibes. I usually, I have this room full of every instrument you can think of, but I usually have
That's your studio.
This is my studio here. Yeah. So,
let us see.
let's take a
around,
yeah. This is, of course, I have the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bass,
Nice.
keyboards. I have, a bunch of basses in there, guitars, and then I have, more guitars. I have, probably I think somewhere around 14, 15 basses, all vintage
Oh
basses,
wow.
Oh
every
wow.
Yeah.
every style, every size, and I got, because the way I look at it is you got to bring the right tool to the job, right?
Oh yeah,
So
That's
yeah.
right. That's every time.
yeah, man. So I got them different types of strings, tape wounds, flat wounds, round wounds, 6 string, 5 string, 4 string. Piccolo, a matter of fact, I got Willie Weeks Olympic bass as well. And
Yeah.
I got it strung up with piccolo strings. So and on
Oh,
some
okay. Oh wow.
you can hear some of the music that I've used that on, and I got fretless, Gibson vintage basses I've used, and then probably the tune that I've used every bass
Wow.
that I could pull out is on the Street Wave, Brother Johnson. I think I was up to over 78, 76 tracks.
Oh
Oh my
Uh,
wow.
God.
yeah, with
Yeah.
horns. I got real horns on there, stab brass, 2 or 3 bass lines going, synth bass, lots of guitars, lots of layers of keyboards, and it's just a fun tune. I mean, it's hard
Mm.
not to listen to it and not get into the groove if I if I have to
Yeah,
say.
That's,
So.
well, when Tom and I come over to Nashville, we put a little vocal on for you.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
why not? Yeah,
well, that would be great, man. I would
yeah.
love that. Anytime, and I think we talked about that before. Skyler, is that yeah? If you guys are in town, love to hang out with
Yeah.
you in the studio. And Roger, he got a beautiful studio over at his place too. And a lot of the tracks we did, half of them.
Roger, the keyboard player.
Yeah, Roger Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah, see, he knows Kim Fleming. That's what I was trying to introduce you to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
She sings with Winona and
Okay, yes.
Dolly Parton and all of them down there, right?
Yeah, he mentioned her. He did
You got
mention. Matter of fact,
you got to meet her, right?
yeah, yeah.
Leslie Ellis, she's been on our show. She sang on the Titanic with me.
Wow,
And
nice.
she's down there in Nashville, and well, it's some great talent all around that town.
There is too. Actually, the kind of hidden story, man, is the reason I hooked up with Roger was through Kevin Whalen.
Okay,
Amazing. Kurt Whalen's brother.
okay,
Amazing, beautiful vocalist. He's been on. There's stuff about him singing with Natalie Cole, and he's just goes on and on. Done work with George Duke and just everybody, and of course his brother, world renowned, right?
of course,
Yeah. So Kevin introduced me. He invited me to a session over at Rogers' place that they were working on a new single, on a new actually an EP, I think it was at the time. And so I had a chance to go there and just sit in and watch, some of the magic being made, man. And Kevin's got a beautiful voice, but he kind of showed me the ropes, and I attribute really the start of my I guess debuted onto the scene because of that connection, because Roger had a huge, he and Sonny Emery both, I mean, were heavily involved in getting that first tune and those first tracks on that season EP out there,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Tom.
Well, we've talked a little bit about your music and different things that you've done. How do people? We've talked. Obviously, you mentioned your Vimeo link, which we shall put in our description here. Are you available for people to look at what you do on YouTube, or how else can people interact with what you interact and see what you do?
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, man. And the best way is I spend a lot of time on Instagram. Instagram is probably that's my feed to a lot of the Facebook and all the other ones. But it's just Styric M, STYRICM is my handle on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I usually when I launch singles and things, that's usually where it starts, and then it flows out there. Same thing with all of them are either in my website. If you go to my website, styric.com, STYRIC.com,
okay,
the links to all my music, all my social media, contact information, bios, everything are all there. That's kind of the hub to everything. But
great
like I
stuff.
said, as far as me engagement, social, I mean, Instagram is probably the fastest way to catch me. And matter of fact, that's how I've ended up working with some of the musicians like J. Rod Sullivan. our
Okay.
connection kind of through a weird way through Sonny Emery, the amazing drummer, right? But it was through Instagram. We connected up on there, and I loved his feel. And I was like, oh man, I'd love to have you on the track. And he said, let's do it. And so
Yeah.
next thing, the rest is history, man. And so
That's it, yeah. Good
that
stuff.
song even had Pat Coyle. I don't know if you know Pat Coyle. Pat Coyle's based out of Nashville, but he used to be MD for Michael McDonald, keyboard player, amazing piano player. And I met him in one of the jazz clubs here, and we kind of befriended each other. And before you know it, he's like, yeah, let's do a track,
Nice.
Yeah, man.
That's the cool thing about, Nashville, because there's, like I said, little jazz club. And I run into, this guy that's been around the world and playing with, amazing acts throughout his career. And then, give me some love and say, hey, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
That was just way cool,
Wonderful.
Wow.
So
what's your feelings about social conscious music?
I think it's needed, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I kind of, when that's a great question, because I had, some friends when I started putting my music out there, and they were like, with everything that's going on, it's refreshing to hear something that's positive, that feels good, that takes you away from, some of the stuff we can't control, right? But that's
right.
I think that's a positive energy and vibe that you can put into the world, and
Right.
there's a lot of people hurting out there, and I think that's the thing, is if you can somehow make an impact through God's gift of music and put that out in the world and use that in a positive way, why not?
That's what Music for Global Change is all about.
Absolutely.
Finding
Yeah.
people that write
Yeah.
social conscious music in a positive vibration, right?
Right.
Well, listen, blessings, brother. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
namaste.
Thanks for joining us, Styric. It's great to meet
Yeah,
you.
well, man, such a great hang, and thank you guys as well. Be blessed, and like I said, glad we got a chance to, the stars lined up for us to do this.
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. There's an urgency facing our humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.